Hey folks, Jessica here. We're in Genshin Impact again today, and I just finished Abyss Floor number 10 for the very first time. Recorded the whole thing, so I figured I'd do a commentary vid going through the whole fight and my thoughts on it. If you're curious about specifically what I was running on each character, I'll cover all of that towards the end. Also timestamp down below if you just want to jump straight to that part, but let's jump in. So, first thing you're going to notice is I'm taking that card on the left, the physical damage 25% card. It's not necessarily because it's the strongest one, but it is the one that's going to carry over for the rest of the floor, because a floor is 3 chambers, the other ones only take effect for this chamber. I want to stack the deck towards the end, because this is quite hard. So these guys are level 80, Official's level 70, Barbara's level 50, so we're way under level for this. Frankly, we get through this mostly because Venti is a little OP and does some heavy lifting for us. We're routinely switching into him to throw out his E, primarily to charge his Elemental Burst really quick, because we are less than 30 seconds in and we have thrown 2 Elemental Bursts off Venti. But his E also does a lot of damage, and he's Constellation 2 right now, I know. So he's lowering Animo resistance every time he does that, and physical resistance for things that float. And yeah, it's pretty nuts how fast he can charge, because now we're less than a minute in, and that's 3 Elemental Burst off Venti. And every time he's doing it, he's enabling so much damage. The burst itself does a lot of damage, but look at all those numbers coming out. Venti's just such a strong character. It's kind of absurd. And we're running Jean also, who's another Animo character, so he's actually also charging Jean's Elemental Burst, and she's charging his Elemental Burst. And that allows them both to spam, both for damage, but also to keep our team topped off with Jean's heal. There's Elemental Burst number 4. So yeah, that's how this goes for a lot of this floor, this chamber. Venti is strong for a lot of reasons. It's not just that he has this huge vacuum on his Elemental Burst that gathers people for AoE damage. I mean, it is a lot that, but it's also the fact that it just charges so ridiculously fast. And the fact that it in and of itself does a lot of damage, especially when you spec him to do a lot of Animo damage. And then, of course, beyond that, it's also amplifying the damage of everything that gets mixed in, all the elements that gets mixed in. I think that's like 5 Elemental Bursts for Venti now, so quite a hard carry here. And that elemental skill, his E, Skyward Sonnet, actually does a lot of damage. Like, it does a considerable amount of damage and hits a big chunk of area. So it's doing some work. He's definitely an MVP here. Fischl, of course, is being Fischl, doing a ton of single target damage. But the thing is, right now, to clear these floors fast enough, you need to AoE, which kind of means you need to use Venti, because just single targeting things down isn't going to be fast enough. So this is chamber number 2. And here, we don't have a Venti, but we do have a Mona, who's going to function similarly to Venti in that she'll play a support role to enable some damage. Not nearly to the same degree, but she's still good here, because she's going to allow us to break these shields on these fire mages easily. And once she does that, we'll amplify the damage on it, pop the Lookout, and note that the Look critted for almost 30k with that Phoenix. So Mona's Stellaris Phantasm, her Elemental Burst, amplifies the damage of stuff that hits, it puts a debuff on the enemy and that amplifies the damage he takes. That's partly why Deluxe hits so hard there. I actually had him crit for almost 40k earlier. It was pretty nuts. And that's not even counting the extra damage that Phoenix does as it passes through, because it would take several times as it's passing through. So Mona and Deluxe work very well together. Deluxe also wearing a set that causes melt damage to be increased and vaporize, and basically all the fire elemental effects work really well. It's important to have a water character here on both teams. That's why I'm running Barbara on the first team, even though she's massively underleveled. And the reason is primarily because almost every single enemy here is fire. There's so many fire enemies on this floor. It's not an issue I've run into on previous floors, but in this one in particular, I feel like if I wasn't running a Pyro main DPS, I would have had a lot easier time. But I am, so whatever. Chi-Chi with the clutch heals. It's interesting because Mona and Keiching are actually bugged. You might have seen the notice if you logged on recently. But they're both basically not doing as much damage as they should. I think with Mona, it's something like the order of operations on how she debuffs makes it so she's not doing as much damage as not enabling as much damage as she should. With Keiching, I think it's something like certain artifacts and weapon stats aren't feeding into her elemental burst. So it's not hitting as hard as it should. And it shows, because it definitely feels like it's underperforming when I use it. Anyways, moving on to the next floor. Floor 1, or sorry, next chamber. Chamber 1 wasn't so bad. Some more of that before we move on, actually. They're supposedly going to fix Mona and Keiching this morning. That's what the notice said, and they actually sent out compensation primo gems to reflect that. However, then they tweeted that the fix didn't actually fix everything yet. So I guess they're not fixed. I tried both of them earlier just to see what their numbers are like, and they didn't seem drastically different at all. So I'm going to assume Keiching and Mona are still bugged, but that's something to look forward to if you're a Keiching or Mona player. They'll be stronger in the near future, probably. Anyways, we're on to Chamber 2, and I'm going to take the card on the left again. This is normal and charge attack damage plus 20%. So remember that we need to get 6 stars total to get all the way through this into the next floor. So we need to go as fast as possible. We got 3 stars on the first floor, which is great. This is another floor where Venti excels because there's a ton of enemies. Just look at all the numbers spamming on the screen. So much damage from Venti. And honestly, you know, and that E from Venti also just hit for a ton right there. So, like, if you feel like Venti's like OP, well, I mean, Venti's the patron wind god of Mondstadt, so it kind of makes sense that he's so strong, I guess. Also, I know a lot of people like don't like Venti because he's a weird little kid or whatever. If you play more of his story, particularly the level 36 story, Venti's actually not some weird little kid. The person you see on screen is not actually who Venti really is. I'm not going to say anything more than that, because spoilers, but you'll see when you get there. Venti's actually a very interesting character. But yeah, he's a little OP. I'm not gonna lie, he's a little strong. it's fine though. So yes, this floor's not terrible in terms of danger. It's terrible because these flowers exist, and these flowers take an eternity to kill. They're so tanky. Whopper flowers, I would rather fight almost anything in Abyss than Whopper flowers. Whopper flowers just take so disproportionately long to kill, and they're not dangerous or anything. It's just they're tanky. I don't know why. I feel like maybe I'm missing something about how Whopper flowers work that is making me kill them so slow. I don't know. If you know the secret to killing Whopper flowers, let me know in the comments down below. I've made this far about it, but I don't know. Maybe I need to go buy some weed killer from the Good Hunter or something. I have not been counting how many times Venti Elemental burst, but it's probably a lot. Yeah, I've been thinking about trying to Constellation 6 Venti, and I don't know. I don't know if I want to go that deep in this game this early. We'll see. We'll see. And Barbara hasn't been doing much because Barbara's primarily here for the next chamber. It's very important you have 2 water characters going into Chamber 3. I tried this without Barbara, with a less unleveled character, and Barbara really helps here. Not for the reason you would think, though. But yeah, we're just spamming AoEs as much as possible. Like I was saying, I think maybe in the future, when people are higher level, because remember, I'm super under level on everybody here. Even Fischl, my main DPS, is 12 levels under these guys. Maybe single targeting these things down will work, but right now, if you were to exclusively rely on single target, you wouldn't clear fast enough. I'm using Jean's Elemental Burst as an offensive attack because it does do damage. It's not typically what you use it for, but Venti's charging it so fast, and Jean's charging Venti so fast that I might as well just spam both of them. I just need the damage. Just look how long it takes to kill this thing. Compared to everything else, this thing's so freaking tanky. I hate these Whopper flowers. They're like this in the open world too. They're not this tanky, but like they feel like they take longer than they should. And this guy comes out, and this guy's like a breath of fresh air compared to the Whopper flowers. This guy's a wimp compared to Whopper Flowers. He'll hit harder, but like he'll die real fast. But yeah, really pumped to see Keqing will get fixed. It's interesting because Keqing, I didn't follow closed beta test tier list very much, but she was like SSSS tier with the look towards the end of closed beta, and then she dropped into A tier with launch. So I wonder if that is because she's bugged. Very curious. We'll see though. We'll see what happens. Alright, what is on this floor? I do not remember. I think this is like two of the axe guys, right? Yeah, it's two of the axe guys. So this chamber is easy, because the axe guys are not tanky. And there's some danger of dying, obviously, but you know, you practice enough and there's not a lot of danger of dying. It's mostly can you clear fast enough, and that's really the hardest part. Because so to get 3 stars I need to finish with 300 seconds left, so 5 minutes left. And that means I've only got 40 seconds left to clear this chamber, and I mean, it's not looking likely. Spoilers, I don't clear this chamber in 5 minutes total, so I'm only gonna get 2 stars here. But yeah, it's tough. The thing that really helped though is being able to clear the first floor with 3 stars, because you've really got to manage the stars you get. Because trying to get 3 stars on the last chamber is not gonna be so easy. But we get 3 in the first chamber, 2 in this chamber, then we only get 1 star in the last chamber, and we're good. You don't want to stand in that spinny axe thing. It's not the most deadly thing in the world, but it will basically stun lock you and do a lot of damage. These archers are easy to kill, but you don't want them to like shoot you a ton, because it will do a significant amount of damage. Also, this team is less stacked with healers than my other team, so I generally don't want to take as much damage here, even though Chi-Chi is an amazing healer. Like, Deluxe just hit 500 HP there, I don't know if you noticed. Like, Deluxe almost died. And losing a character in Chamber 2 basically means start the whole thing over. But yeah, Chi-Chi put that Fortune Preserving Talisman on that enemy, and I was able to top off Deluxe by hitting it. And yeah, if I had like a cryo DPS or something, or like a water primary DPS built, then this would be a much easier floor. But you know, Deluxe the one I have built, and Deluxe great. Like Deluxe even here is fine. It's just you gotta remove the shields first. But yeah, this game does not give me enough resources to build a lot of different characters right now. Anyways, on to floor number 3. I mean, chamber number 3. Okay, chamber number 3, and this is by far the hardest chamber in my opinion. We're going to take the card on the left again, normal and charge attack damage up by 20%. I don't actually know if it stacks, because that's the same card I took the last floor, I believe. If you know definitively if these things stack, let me know, I'm curious. But this floor we're fighting Fatui, and Fatui is the bane of a lot of people's existence if they've been in Abyss any length of time. The trick to killing Fatui, in my opinion, is to burst them as hard as possible before they get their shields up. These guys all put shields up once they've taken enough damage, and once the shields are up, it's much slower to try and kill them. You either have to remove the shield or try and chip them down through the shield, and both things take a lot of time. The better thing to do is just burst them really hard. Ideally, you want to spam things that juggle them, that stun lock them, freeze them, anything to prevent them from being able to cast the shield. And the lower you can get them before they shield, the better. If you can kill them, great. But since I juggled that guy so long, he did finally get his shield up, but he's almost dead. So I don't actually need to worry about removing the shield. I can just chip him down through it. Be careful, by the way, of these Animo Boxers. That thing he just did where he sucks you in and then tries to haymaker you, that can easily kill a character. If it looks like it's going to hit you, just swap to a character that's high health, and that will usually get you through it. But more Fatui come in, and we're going to dump everything on them. So Venti's ult, Jean's ult, because it does do damage, all official stuff, just get all the damage piled in there. We want these guys as low as possible before they actually get to cast a shield. Just keep diving in, try and stun them, knock them back, anything. Also be careful, because if you're running around trying to kill these guys in Ammo Boxer, haymakers, you're gonna die. But yeah, Like, the ammo boxer's almost dead. Ammo boxer's dead. One of the rifle guys is about to die. Hasn't even put a shield up. This last survivor is gonna put a shield up, but I mean, he's the last guy, so it's fine. We'll just kill him. That's why we bought Barbara, because even though Barbara's really underleveled, she's water, and this is a fire shield. And the way shields work, it doesn't matter how hard you hit them. If you're hitting them the correct element, it will quickly take down the shields. It doesn't care about damage, it cares about element. I can do a video specifically on how shields work if there's confusion there, but yeah, taking a water character for this is really helpful. And you're about to see more of that because there's going to be more shields, and Mona's going to break them here. So this is, again, freaking stupid Whopper Flowers, and then the Abyss Mage. The Abyss Mage is by far the more dangerous enemy here. The Whopper Flowers are tanky and annoying, but the Abyss Mage is the one that will kill you if left unattended, so we're just going to try and break the shield with Mona as fast as possible, and basically body this guy before he can be a nuisance. These Whopper Flowers. They spam that, like, fireball thing, which is annoying. It's definitely annoying, but it's not the one that's likely going to kill you. And this last bit's just kind of a slog because of the Whopper Flowers. Also, by the way, you might think the Abyss Mage is a fire Abyss Mage, so why are you using Diluc on him? Well, Diluc is fire, yeah, but the Abyss Mage isn't immune to fire. It's just when he has his shield up that he's essentially immune to fire. Fire works fine on him once the shield's down. And we're just gonna beat the shit out of these plants until they die, because that's all you can do against Whopper Flowers. Like, these guys are just so annoying and so frustrating when you're fighting them, because you're trying to get these time limits, and like they're just not doing anything. They're just sitting there taking hits. Like, their little stupid fireball spam isn't doing much damage at all. Like, I would rather fight Fatui than Whopper Flowers any day of the week. Okay, Ching with her broken in the other way, opposite way of Venti Elemental Burst. I'm just so curious how much damage it's gonna do once it's fixed. Like, I'm using Diluc's Elemental Burst there on just one Whopper Flower because I just want this thing dead. Now remember, we only need a 1 star here. So I run away because I think it's dead, but surprise, it's not actually dead because I'm an idiot, so now it's dead. This last bit is just these Hilichurls, which is a relief. Though be careful here because you can still die. Those crossbow guys do hit hard if you let enough of those arrows hit you. But we're still going to focus the Abyss Mage because it is by far the most dangerous one. And these little thorn walls are so annoying here because I'm trying to burn the mage, but I run the walls over and over because they keep getting summoned in front of me. And if you didn't know this, those Abyss Mages need to die fast because if you leave them unattended, they will put their shield back up. And if they put their shield back up, that's a significant amount of time lost in your clear. So that's why I'm so doggedly pursuing this guy to try and kill him. Because once he's down, like, we just have to sweep up the rest of these idiots and we're good. Because they're no threat at all. Alright. Abyss Mage can get out of here. These guys are also way spread out. There's one Hilichurl down. Kill this idiot on the way to the other archer. And we got playing time because we only need 1 star, which is a 3 minutes left on the clock. There we go. This 10-3 clear. So let's talk about gear. Hello, Stiggy. Hello, son. Okay, gear, but before we talk about individual characters, there's a thing I wanted to point out. I just hit Adventure Rank 40 today, World Level 5, and I wanted to mention that because, as you can see, I have a lot of 5-star artifacts, a lot of golds. Prior to World Level 5, Adventure Rank 40, I had, I think, 5 of these. All of these golds I've acquired today, basically, off of like Primo Gem resin refills and Fragile resin refills. I'm pointing this out because you have access to much, much, much better loot from those domains once you hit Adventure Rank 40. You're going to start regularly seeing 5-star drops. Purple drops, 4-star drops are the norm at Adventure Rank 40. You're going to see them all the time. You wouldn't really run anything less than a purple. And I'm mentioning this because if you're close to 40, I would really recommend you consider holding on to Fragile Resin until you are 40 to farm. It's kind of a catch-22 because using Fragile Resin lets you get to 40 faster, so you've got to work that one out for yourself. But I would certainly recommend not farming the elemental sets until 40 because you're just going to get so many more purples and some golds. Anyways, characters. I'm going to try and be brief with characters that haven't really changed since the last time I did one of these videos. Jean is still using the flute, still an excellent DPS weapon for physical damage healer. Speaking of physical damage, she is using Gladiator Finale 2-piece and Martial Artist 2-piece. This is considerably better than she had before. She had really garbage artifacts before. Jean's interesting because she doesn't really do much elemental damage. Gale Blade is just an initial hit of animo damage, but it's not very much overall. And Dandelion Breeze does initial burst of elemental damage, but it's not that much. The damage for entering and leaving a field is, again, not that much either. She more often than not just does damage through white damage, physical damage, just whacking the enemy. So I've been wondering if maybe I shouldn't farm something like a Bloodstained Chivalry set, which increases physical damage. I'm still thinking about it, though, because I'm not sure if that would be better than running just 4-piece Gladiator Finale, which increases her normal attack damage. Well, I'll let you know when I figure out on that. She's Constellation 0. Venti is much the same as last time, though he is... Actually, no, that's a lie. Venti's got a lot of new toys. So he's using Stringless still is Refinement 5 now, so I maxed that out. It's Elemental Skill and Elemental Burst damage increased by 48%. This is his best in slot, I would say, as a support Venti, which is really the way you should run Venti. And he now has 4-piece Viridescent Venerer. It was 2-piece before. 2-piece is Animo bonus damage 15%, but 4-piece increases squirrel damage by 60%, decreases opponent's elemental resistance to an element infused in the squirrel by 40% for 10 seconds. So what that means is if you like use Venti's ult and then you combine like pyro damage into it, it will reduce the enemy's pyro resistance by 40%, thereby increasing the pyro damage you deal. So you can see why this works extremely well with Venti. I don't expect to see a better set for Venti anytime soon. This is likely going to be his best in slot set for a long time, so it's very much worth investing in. Also, a small point, I am running 1 energy recharge piece on him. Not necessarily by choice, I just didn't have an attack piece or anything else that was more relevant, but that's partly why he was charging so fast in the fight. I have this gold that's HP, so we're not using that, obviously. And yeah, I mean, this is the set you're going to want if you're using Venti as support. I guess you'd want a different set if you use Venti as primary DPS, but I don't know why you would do that, because Venti doesn't bring anything really compelling to the table in terms of being your primary DPS. He is much better as a support. Incredibly broken as a support, I would say. And then the other thing is I got Constellation 2 on Venti before I had this. Constellation 1, largely irrelevant here. It just makes him shoot an extra 2 arrows on aim shot. But Constellation 2 makes his Skyward Sonnet reduce enemies' animo resist by 12%. And if they are launched, it will reduce animo resist by another 12% and physical resist while they're airborne. So this is actually a pretty nice constellation. The one, obviously, that I want is Storm of Defiance, which essentially gives the Viridescent Venerer 4-piece set effect again on Venti's ult. So this one's the big one, but I don't know if I really want to commit to getting 4 more Ventis. Yeah, I don't know if I want to go that deep in right now, but we'll see. Fischl, still using Amos Bow. She's now using 2-piece Thundering Fury, 2-piece Gladiator's Finale, and she's still really strong, really good. Nothing much to say here. Except for, I don't know what to run as a second bonus. Gladiator's Finale seems fine. Maybe Gamblers for skill damage. We'll see. I don't really want to run 4-piece Thundering Fury on her, though, because I don't... It increases Overload, Electrocharge, and Superconduct damage, and decreases Elemental Skull command. I just don't know if I really... The way I play her, if I really trigger those enough for it to be worth it. But we'll see. And as before, she's Constellation 6. Look! Look is still using Wolf's Gravestone. A friend of mine pointed this out. This sword looks like it's supposed to be deluxe sword. It matches his design completely, but it's called Wolf's Gravestone, which kind of leads me to believe it's supposed to be Razor's sword. So that's a little weird. But yeah, if you're not familiar with this, it's plus 20% attack, great. And then when you hit an enemy that's below 30% HP, it will buff the whole team's attack by 40% for 12 seconds. Very, very, very powerful sword. Big upgrades on him. He now has 4-piece Crimson Witch of Flames, which I think is also his best in slot. I've been playing him with a few different sets, and this seems to be the best performing one by far. 2-piece, as always, is increased elemental damage, so pyro damage in this case by 15%. 4-piece is increased overload and burning damage by 40%, increased vaporize and melt damage by 15%, and this is a big part of it. Using an elemental skill increases the 2-piece set effect by 50% for 10 seconds, and it stacks 3 times, so 150% bonus to this. So, very powerful set under look. Other significant upgrade to him is he is now Constellation 2. So, Constellation 1 just makes him do 15% more damage, and he's about 50%. Constellation 2, every time he takes damage, he gets a stacking attack speed and an attack buff, stacking up 3 times. So it's nice. The one I really want on him, obviously, is Flaming Sword, Nemesis of Dark. This changes how he plays entirely, because it allows him to basically weave his Searing Onslaught, his elemental skill, with his normal attack combo, so you can basically do 2 combos at once. It does a ton of damage, they all buff each other, it's nuts. If Diluc ever gets a raid up banner of his own, then I might consider going for this. I don't really want to go for this without a raid up. I'm not that much of a whale. Let's see, Chi-Chi, still, I think, same as last time. So this is worth talking about. She's using Sacrificial Sword. It's only level 21. Reason I use it is because of this skill. When she hits an enemy with an elemental skill, 70% chance to end the cooldown that elemental skill can occur once every 19 seconds. That's a big effect, because the cooldown on Herald of Frost is 30 seconds, so resetting it's a big deal. The fact that it doesn't do much damage because it's not level doesn't matter, because I don't use Chi-Chi for damage. I just use her for healing and for applying her little fortune preserving talisman. Artifact, she's still using Full Maiden Beloved. Definitely the best set to use on her as a healer. I would say she's best suited as a healer. You could make her a DPS, but she's not suited to it. Like, she just doesn't bring anything to the DPS table. Her skills are her elemental skill super long cooldown, doesn't do that much damage, and then her elemental burst also doesn't do much damage. So I don't see why you would build her as a DPS. She just seems like she's very much suited to be a healer and is tremendously good at that. She's Constellation 1, which just makes it so Hero of Frost, the little orb that flies around on her E, if it hits somebody who has Fortune Preserving Talisman, she regains energy. Fortune Preserving Talisman is the thing she applies when she attacks, if you've unlocked that talent, or with her ult. Kate Shing, still using Skyward Blade. This thing, I don't know if it's going to remain like a good option for her, but it seems like it will once she gets fixed, because it gives you crits, but the main thing is when you elemental burst, it increases her movement speed, attack speed, and normal and charge attack damage for 12 seconds, and she elemental bursts all the time. That's kind of her thing. And it's got energy recharge on it. The main reason I'm a little hesitant to use this long run is I would like this to be anything else but energy recharge, anything offensive besides energy recharge. So let's, like, well, attack, obviously, or crit or something. But this might actually be more synergistic with her than I think. So this is probably actually fine. We'll see. I'll let you know when I figure it out. Same problem for her I have on Fischl. I don't know what second set bonus to use. Definitely 2-piece Thundering Fury. I don't know if I want to run 4-piece Thundering Fury, so she's just running Martial Artist for now. And she is Constellation 1. Constellation 1 is Thundering Might. recasting Stellar Restoration while Lightning Stiletto is present causes Keqing to deal 50% of her attack as AoE electro damage at the start point and terminus of her blink. So, summary: once she uses her elemental skill, she throws out Stiletto. If you hold charge attack, it charge attacks both at where she is and at the Stiletto. But if you hit E again, she instead teleports to the Stiletto, dealing damage when she teleports there. This makes it so, in addition to that damage, she'll also basically AoE where she teleports from and where she'll teleport to. So it's a nice one. Who else? Mona. Mona is using Last Pair of Sacred Winds primarily for the movement speed buff, the 10% movement speed buff, because I just mostly use her for getting around. If I was using her as DPS, I don't know what I would run here. This seems actually fine for her. Like, it's a 5-star book, so it's good. I don't know if I would run something else, but this seems fine for now. Artifact set. She's using 2-piece Scholar. She was using, in the actual video, 2-piece Scholar, 2-piece Exile, both of which are energy recharge sets. I switched it out to Wanderer's Troop just recently. The energy recharge might seem like a strange choice, but she's got this talent, Waterborne Destiny, that increases her Hydro damage bonus. Gives her increased Hydro damage bonus, rather, by a degree equivalent to 20% of her energy recharge. So she actually scales off energy recharge, which is really weird, but kind of cool, I guess. And then in addition to that, she's used... The only skill I've leveled on her really significantly is Stellaris Phantasm. This is her Elemental Burst. And it's the thing that amplifies damage on everybody. And it's quite a significant damage amplification. So that's why I've set her up like this. I would level her more and I'll do all this stuff, but finite resin right now. Maybe in the future. And she's Constellation 0. And beyond that, Barbara. Barbara really didn't do much besides break her shield and heal now and then, but I mean, she did what I needed her to do. She's still using Prototype Malice. Still, I would say her best in slot. This makes it so her Elemental Burst regenerates energy, so she can do it more often. And she also heals additionally with the Elemental Burst. And some people might think, oh, but her Elemental Burst already heals, so why do you need more healing? Well, when you get into harder fights, you're going to need that healing. Like, there's definitely a lot of times in that video where I use a heal, so like someone's Elemental Burst to heal, and it doesn't actually heal everybody to full. So this is a good thing. Artifact set is still Maiden Beloved. Barbara, more than any other character, has a niche she's built for and fills it exceedingly well, and that niche is to be a pure healer. I don't really understand why you would build her anything else other than a pure healer. That seems like what she's meant for, and the thing she excels at. She is Constellation 6, and that's all the characters. So, conclusions. So yeah, this floor 10, it was a lot of fun. It was very hard, very hard because I'm very underleveled. Tomorrow is the weekly reset, so that means I will get a new run on Storm Terror and the Wolf, whose name I can't remember, and obviously Resin Reset, so I'll have more gear and more opportunities to level characters up, so I might try and tackle 11 soon. I'll let you know as soon as I do. I had a quick peek at 11. Is electro damage bonus to characters and cryo damage bonus to characters. So those are nice. I don't really have a lot of cryo damage, but electro damage is nice. And then superconduct, which is electro and cryo, increased by 300%. And then decreases targets physical resistance by 20%. So this seems like a much more favorable floor setup than the previous one, which was tough, very tough. And then I looked at the enemies, and it's like slimes and hilichurls. For the most part, there is a Fatui there. But I don't see any Whopper flowers. And I don't see a ton of Fatui. I lied. There's Fatui on the final floor. But nothing too crazy there, so that shouldn't be too bad. And then let's look at 12. 12 is more slimes. Ugh, Whopper flowers. Whopper flowers. 12 looks like it's going to be a pain. And then Fatui, of course, because there's gotta be Fatui. Hardest thing in this game, apparently. And also, I just noticed, you guys are on level 98. Okay. Yeah, it's gonna... 12 might take a while before I actually get around to it, because these guys are really high level. But we'll see. We'll see. Oh, this is a defend also. That's interesting. I wonder how that's gonna go. one step at a time. We'll try and handle 11, and then we'll talk about 12 later. But yeah, if you like this, leave me a comment down below. If you have been doing Abyss, let me know how it's going. Let me know how far you are. If you're having trouble with any floors, let me know. We can talk through like what you might be stumbling on. But yeah, if you like this, like, comment, subscribe, all that YouTube stuff, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye!